These changes are sweeping and very complicated, but the top line is essentially that wealthier older people are going to need to contribute more for their care. Now, these don't target everybody. For example, as you mentioned, anybody currently in the aged care system is carved out from these changes, but it will mean changes for self-funded retirees and some pensioners. But again, only some are captured. About 3 in 10 people on a full pension and 7 in 10 people on a part pension who might head into care at some point later in their lives. The top line is essentially that the means test is changing, which is how the government measures your assets and your income to determine what sort of contribution you make to your aged care. There's also a lot of money, a significant injection of money, into home care to try and encourage more people to spend more of their lives in their own home before they move into aged care. This is how the government helps you modify your home or have care in your own home as well to try and delay heading into residential aged care. It's receiving a big injection of money aimed at getting hundreds of thousands of people into home care arrangements in future and clearing very long waiting lists. As for the why the government is doing all of this, that's because the population is rapidly aging and aged care is already a major expense within the budget. The number of Australians aged over 85 is going to triple within the next generation, and the cost of aged care is roughly doubling in just the next few years. So the government saw a significant case for change here. A task force report recommended a number of these changes earlier in the year, and the government is now acting upon them.
So there's been bipartisan agreement on the reforms importantly, but still, Tom, some sticking points.
Yeah, look, some sticking points politically and some points of concern from some within the sector, although this has been broadly welcomed by the aged care providers themselves. They were raising concerns for some time that the sector was struggling, it wasn't making money on accommodation, and simply not enough beds were being built. They've welcomed these changes and the financial certainty that comes with it. Politically, the government and coalition did reach bipartisan consensus on these changes eventually, but that took a lot of negotiation. There were concerns about things like a workers' voice, which would have been a group of workers within aged care providers who could have provided feedback directly to management on how care was going. The coalition was concerned that was essentially, they had concerns that might be essentially forced unionism in their words. Other concerns were around penalties for providers. There were concerns that directors of providers might be hit with criminal penalties for significant breaches. Instead, those have been watered down to civil penalties, so essentially just fines. Unions are concerned about the loss of that workers' voice and the loss of those criminal penalties as well. They've criticised those elements of these changes, but this is a significant and complicated package of reforms, so there's still a fair bit of detail to work through too.